Yo, baby, we're back. We're better than ever. I'm sitting here at Lapka Lake. I'm excited about it. Got the man, the myth, the legend himself. 670, the score's very own. Kevin Lapka is in the building with us today. I hope you guys liked the new intro. I spent that cooking up the last couple hours. Just doing my thing, Kev. Just doing what you think. First impression. You gotta be honest.
That was dope, bro. I like the music. I was really vibing with the music in the background, the energy, the vibe. I like the Caruso highlight. You intentionally left Zach LaVine out of that and put Caruso in there.
Oh, well, man, there's just certain things going around right now that I just felt like it was inappropriate to throw any Chicago Bull in there. But I had to throw in the Caruso. I had to. Career high this year, just playing his ass off. Absolutely phenomenal.
You're going to have to recreate the intro in 2 months when he gets traded to the Lakers. What are you doing?
First of all, he's going to the Miami Heat. Be better.
Okay.
Come on. You expected Damian Lillard. You expected True Holiday. You expected Bradley Beal, and you get Alex Caruso. Jimmy Butler is going to be very excited. I already know. But nah, Kev, man, we're talking about somebody who played their ass off all day long. We're here with some Bears talk. I mean, Justin Fields' first game back since, I believe, October 15th, if I'm not mistaken. Absolutely what the people wanted. This is what we wanted to see. We saw a Justin Fields that, Kevin, I don't know how it took 11 weeks. And 11 is a stretch because he was injured for a few of them. But how the game plan wasn't using Justin Fields' legs and using them to the best of his ability for the first 11 weeks, especially after a 1,000-yard season rushing last season from him. I want your first opinion before we get into the debacle of a 98% winning chance with 5 minutes left in the game that was horrendously collapsed. Talk to me a little bit about Luke Getsy and why it took so long to get to this point that we already knew going into the season should have been the game plan.
What are you coming to me for answers for? I don't know. No one knows. No one knows.
I'm just asking. What do you think it was? What do you see? Like, because here's what I'm hearing.
I mean, right? I know what it is. Yeah.
You're hearing these narratives that, okay, well, we tried to make him a pocket passer. We tried to make him something that, listen, I heard this with Mitch. I've heard this with other players we've had in this organization before, but I just don't buy it, Kev, because even the play designs with Justin Fields when he was throwing the ball, the play designs weren't good. It wasn't adequate. It wasn't what you expected. If you're sitting up here and you're going to tell me that, hey, man, we just wanted him to be the next Patty Mahomes, then draw something up that looks something like Patrick fucking Mahomes. I mean, that's just what it is. And we didn't see that. I'm seeing screens. I'm seeing bubble options. I'm seeing all these horrible less than 10-yard plays. And so you can't sit here and sell me that. So what to you would you make of the first, let's say, 6 games from Justin Fields from a play calling standpoint?
I mean, you're right that they were trying to force him into being a pocket passer the first couple of weeks because it wasn't just the lack of design runs, Mike. It was the lack of getting him out of the pocket. It was the lack of, bootlegs and play action and things that he's been traditionally great at in his early years in the NFL. So the culmination of everything on Sunday was not just the running. It was the fact that they were getting him on the move. They were getting him on the run. He made some of his best plays in the game on the run. We know that that's his best asset, and they were leveraging that. Now, you have to be critical of the fact that the first drive, the first scripted 10 plays that they've been good at. They were number 1 in the NFL last year at opening drive touchdowns. They would go down the field and score every single game, and then they'd go away from their game plan, and they did it again in this game. They ended up scoring 26 points, right? But they only scored 2 touchdowns. They had 3 field goals, and we'll be critical of those field goals late down the stretch and the clock management and in the decision-making down the stretch by Matt Eberflus. But they kept going away from what was working at the start. And this has been what Luke Getsy and Matt Eberflus do in their tenure with the Chicago Bears. You may have figured it out, but guess what? Can you be consistent enough to not just do it play to play, Mike, and drive to drive, but game to game? And that's the frustrating thing and we talk about Bears Nation podcast all the time. We don't believe that they are capable of design. Like, we don't think that they're actually capable enough as an offensive staff to design a game plan around a player as versatile as Justin Fields. So when you saw Tyson Bagent come in and you saw him operate an offense well, and you saw people get excited about that, that's because that's the exact way they want it to be done. They want it to be as simple as possible. They want it to be a Brock Purdy plug and play, do your little thing, dump the ball off, let your playmakers make plays type offense. And with Justin Fields, you can't force him to play below what his potential is. And that's what they were trying to do for most of the season. But on Sunday, I thought they did a good job of letting him play his game, giving him opportunities. Obviously, it wasn't sustainable into the fourth quarter. They didn't give him opportunities in the fourth quarter in the final 2 drives. But for the most part, you saw a different game plan. I don't know why it took this long, but guess what? The fact that it took that long is going to cost both of them their jobs. There is a 0% chance they're both here next year, and they deserve all of the blame for it. But at least they fixed it at this point in week 11 when the season doesn't matter.
100%. And, I want to say, first of all, shout out to the Detroit Lions, 8-2 for the first time since the 1960s, 1962. Shout out to getting 8 wins, which is congratulations at being average. But, victories, small victories, Kevin. They're taking baby steps. But, you and I talked about it when Dan Campbell got hired, and I said I loved the hire. And I said I loved it because it was something for me that this is a guy who I truly believe is going to come in and create a culture, because I've heard him speak before. We've seen him play before. And his NFL career wasn't anything to the magnitude of where it is right now as a coach, but he was somebody that you could look at and say, I could get down with this. If Travis Kelce told me at the end of his Chiefs career that he wanted to be a head coach, I'm down with it. I'm completely okay and content with giving him that opportunity, because I believe in Travis Kelce, and I believe that he believes exactly what he's saying. When I heard Matt Eberflus talk, in whether that was on Hard Knocks with the Indianapolis Colts or whether that was in the small stint that we saw in the window after he was hired by the Chicago Bears, it's just another car salesman to me, man. It's just another car salesman. He's going to say the right things. But what's different about this one, and I will say this, Kev, I never give this man his flowers. Matt Nagy could at least sell you something. For a little while, he could sell you something. Every time they're both Matt. Every time Flu speaks, I can't get behind it. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think you know what you're talking about. The thing that upsets me the most in this game, Justin Fields rushes over 100 yards, which is in over 18 carries, is absolutely phenomenal. You love to see them get with that. 16 for 23. 16 for 23 with a couple of drops as well. I loved what we saw. 169 yards passing with 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions in this game. Aiden Hutchinson was absolutely MIA until the very end of the game. So shout out to Darnell Wright for holding him and doing what you needed to do. But Kev, I want to throw it to you, man. Looking at it saying, man, we saw amazing plays all game long. We saw a deep ball. I mean, you and I texted each other immediately after it happened, threading the fucking needle and just absolutely doing what you need to do, stepping up in the pocket, not being afraid to step up. Everything looked great. We even saw Tyler Scott, who I've wanted to see so much more of, who had an amazing man beaten. Here comes Justin. Whew, airs it out. Beautiful throw. Tyler drops it, but it was a great design play. It was everything you wanted. But Kev, it just wasn't enough with 5 minutes left in the game. What was it for you last 5 minutes that they really just got away from what they were supposed to be doing?
Complacency, Mike. And this is what makes no sense. I was watching that game, and when they kicked the field goal to, I believe it was when they're up 6, right? And they kicked the field goal to go up 9, I believe is what it was.
4th and short, if I'm not mistaken.
4th and short. And I'm like, what? Like, okay, so maybe that one makes more sense. Make it a 2-score game, so they have to score a touchdown and a field goal. Sure, that one is not that bad. But it's the second one. You're up 9, and you have the same situation. You had a 3rd and 1, and then you had a 4th and 1, and you don't go. So you've been going for it on 4th and 1 all game.
Right.
Let's make that clear as well. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, 4th and 1, they've been going and they've been converting. Like they're 100% in conversion of 4th and 1 the entire game. So here you go, 4th and 1 in the fourth quarter. You are a 3-7 football team, all right? And you choose to kick a field goal to make a 2-possession game a 2-possession game. So before you kick the field goal, mathematically, the Detroit Lions need 2 touchdowns to win, right? After you kick the field goal, the Detroit Lions still need 2 touchdowns to win. What is the logic? Like, you could not run that by any logical person and say that that was the right decision to make. Like, it just, like, if you were to bring Amazon Web Services to your football team and the guys in the box, let them make the decision, because math would tell you that you have a much better chance of winning the football game, and it is 100% the right decision to go for it on 4th and 1, especially when you've been doing that the entire game. You're 3-7. Why are you playing not to lose? What do you have to lose if you're the Chicago Bears? What do you have to lose?
I heard this on the radio, right? And I'm listening to it this morning while I'm doing my activities, working out, getting my ready for work, whatever it was. And I'm listening to it, and Justin Fields' job is on the line throughout the next 7 weeks. That's no secret. We understand that, and this is just speaking for Chicago, not for myself, because I don't believe that the next 6 weeks alter the incapabilities of Caleb Williams and Drake May. I think that's a whole different conversation. I'm not banking the next 6 weeks on what I've seen from these guys in college, and I'm not seeing a lot. So I've heard even somebody in my comments the other day talk about Shedeur Sanders. First of all, if you're tired of Justin Fields holding the ball too long, wait till you see Shedeur Sanders. But with that being said, talking about it, this is Justin's job on the line. So in that situation, and I heard this earlier, we're not questioning Cairo Santos. I know Cairo Santos can make a field goal on 4th and 1. You know what I mean? But can Justin Fields convert with 5 minutes left in the game and get you that first down to end the game? Put a pin in it, just nail in the coffin. Can he do it? And I think they didn't allow him to get that opportunity, especially looking in the fourth quarter, saying, hey man, can you step up? Can we just rally some numbers? These aren't dead ball time. This is, let's put more points on the board. This is the Detroit Lions. This is Dan Campbell, the guys who have been talking that ish all season long. And you can go in here right now at Ford Field and absolutely dominate. Yeah, Kev, you know what? Maybe we're still going to have a top 5 pick of our own. But if we got that win against the Lions, I'm talking all year. Hey, when they're in the playoffs, hey, we beat them. Hey, if they won the Super Bowl, hey, but we beat them. You know what I mean? Like that's the conversation. When the Chiefs won the Super Bowl last year, what did I text you? We beat them.
I don't remember.
We beat them in the preseason.
And they're stop it.
We're the Super Bowl champs. That's what I'm hearing. You know what I mean? But in all seriousness, though, that is a win that saves a locker room. And this is where I want to throw it to you, because as one of the biggest supporters of Justin Fields at the Ohio State University and in Chicago, you've watched him grow from a wee sap to a man breaking NFL records. Do you think at this point in time, let's not talk about what the front office wants to do. Let's not talk about what the Bears organization is going to do with Justin Fields. Do you think Justin Fields even wants to be in Chicago at this point in time? And can they fix this?
I mean, it's hard to say whether you think that he wants to be here or not. I think he's just grateful to be with an NFL organization. And yes, is he cognizant of the fact that if he were drafted to the 49ers instead of Trey Lance, that he'd be a top 7 quarterback in the NFL and be on a team that's 7-2 right now? If they probably would be 7-2 if they just they'd be one of the best teams in the. They already are one of the best teams in the NFL. They'd probably be up there, top 3 with Eagles and the Chiefs as best.
Oh, what would they even be able to do offensively with Fields?
I mean, it is disgusting to think about, right? So he knows that, but I don't think I get this sense that he doesn't want to be here. You don't see him not play hard for the team. You don't see him checking out, right? You there's a reason Justin Fields carries himself the way he does after games and when they lose, and the fact that he's 6-25 or whatever it is, his record with the Chicago Bears, and everyone's like, why do you not see happy Justin Fields? Why, does that mean he doesn't want to be here? He's never smiling and all this stuff. And I can tell you, he smiled a lot at Ohio State, and he loved being at Ohio State. And it's not that he doesn't love being with the Chicago Bears, it's that he doesn't love losing, right? So if you're Justin Fields, it's out of your control, right? You could demand a trade, but he's not the guy that's going to do that. You're not a free agent next year. I mean, unless they cut him, which would be the most illogical thing in the world, right? he has to understand it. He has to hope and hopefully clamor for once they do fire Matt Eberflus, for a guy for them to bring in that can be a coach that can develop him. We were critical throughout the hiring process of Matt Eberflus that how involved was Justin Fields in those conversations? Now, you can make the argument of whether a guy at his age at 23, after only 1 year in the NFL at that time, was worthy of being in the meeting rooms with, like the players are in the meeting rooms, but they should have input. Hey, this is the guy that's going to come in and lead you and the rest of the team for the next X amount of years. You should
Kevin,
be able to.
Really quick, though.
Yeah.
Was Ryan Poles even in those rooms? Or was he
We
just
don't
handed
know.
the ticket and the man was
know.
like, hey, man, we will give you this job. All you got to do is hire this guy as your head coach. That's honestly, that's why I cut it short, because it's like we talk about Fields being in the room. The general manager wasn't even in the room under my belief. And when that decision was made that he is going to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears, because I think
we know it was narrowed down to 3.
Right.
Sure. So yes.
You know what I mean? Sure. And I believe that 2 of them were only interviewed Jim Caldwell because of certain reasons, and we have those conversations and we're like, Kev, what am I supposed to do? I'm going to play a clip right now that went a little viral on TikTok, and it honestly makes me upset that it was even an interview and it even something that I could create, because it just pissed me off to my core when I hear this. Now, obviously, a week ago, I believe this was against the Saints, or I forget which game this was. Matt Eberflus comes in at halftime and says that he has a couple tricks up his sleeve, and we saw no tricks. We saw 0 tricks, Kevin. And like, this is what we get in post-game interviews, Kevin. This is like, at least with Matt Nagy, I could, the wise or whatever. Sure. Fine. I could, whatever, go back to the drawing board, figure it out. This is what I get from Matt Eberflus on a weekly basis.
What was up your sleeve? Did you use it or?
I don't know. What's up yours?
Shut
up. I don't want this, Kevin. I can't do this anymore. It's my biggest problem right now is I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I'm not getting answers. The biggest thing to me, Kevin, me and you talked about this, and our next segment is going to be a longer one, and Kev's got about 15 more minutes, so we're going to make sure we use every single minute of it because I'm excited about it. But here's what I really got. Here's what I'm thinking. We want to be the Raiders so bad. Kevin wants to be the Raiders so bad. I want to be the Raiders so bad. I want to fire our head coach. I want to fire the OC. I want to fire everybody in the room and still come out and be dogs every single day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just something for me that you can't even fire Matt Eberflus right now because 2 of the coaches in this coaching staff were fired for HR reasons. To me, Kevin, that's a fireable offense. You're hiring weirdos and horrible offensive coordinators.
Yeah.
Like, to me, I want your opinion because we haven't heard anybody really even talk about it. If they were to fire Matt Eberflus and Luke Getsy today, does that do more harm than good just because of how short-staffed you are? And who do you even bring in to replace these guys?
I wouldn't say it does more harm than good. I actually would argue the contrary. And I understand you lost your defensive coordinator, right, Alan Williams, and then you lost your running backs coach. Whatever. Who cares if you lose your running backs coach? Like the Bears running backs are fine.
Embodiment of the Chicago Bears, Kevin. What do you mean? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, but like look at true. You're right. I mean, that's the way they want to do it.
We are the Bears.
Mike, you could probably walk in tomorrow at House Hall and like be the running backs coach, and like they would have the same output on game day. Like it really doesn't matter in the middle of the season.
I promise you, I won't go out on a limb and say things like that openly, but I truly believe we'd be all right. Like
I mean, yeah.
Give the ball to Justin.
Thanks. I'm not saying you are qualified to be a running back coach in the NFL, but like in the middle of the season,
when prime time is 5-0, you
that's what I'm saying. We actually our resume.
Hey, LSD future champs. We're excited about it. Shout out to prime time. Shout out to James Morgan. Shout out to Tommy. Shout out to Frank. Shout out to QB1 White Lightning Mark.
Let's go. But no, I look. This is why I said I'd argue the contrary. Like the Bears coaching staff has been so bad from a decision-making standpoint, but I think there's recognition, and I don't think the Bears players hate Matt Eberflus. I don't think that's the case, right?
I saw TJ Edwards vocally today saying that he still believes in Matt Eberflus.
Yeah, and and that's good, right? But I think there's probably recognition in the inner circles of the players on the team that we're probably a better team without this guy. Like if we brought in Ben Johnson, or Jim Harbaugh or whoever it may be, name it, your top candidate, we'd be a better team. They know that. And I think you would see a Raiders-esque result if you were to fire them too. Like if you fired Matt Eberflus tomorrow, and I said on the podcast today, I think they're going to fire him tomorrow, which is not going to happen. I don't know. But like the Raiders fired McDaniels on a Tuesday, and I was just like using that as precedent.
You were feeling it.
Yeah, I was feeling it, right? Got in my zone. If they fired Eberflus tomorrow, they beat the Vikings on Monday Night Football, and I think they beat the Lions at home. Like, I think they become a more inspired team because it shows that the organization is willing to make change, right? This organization has been stagnant for so long about not firing coaches in season and letting it ride out and hoping things will change in the middle of the shittiest season in the franchise's history, and it's never happened. And I know people say to me time and time again when I talk about this, well, Mike, it's never, or Kevin, it's never happened. They've never fired a coach in season. I'm not going to do it because this is the Bears. They're a charter franchise. They run the things their way, right? But guess what? This is also the first time that it's been this bad. You've never had a coach with a winning percentage this bad. You've never had an organization that's been this. What do you mean?
In the division, 0-9?
0-9. I think it's 0-12. I think it's no. It can't be 0-12. I think it's 0-9.
I think it's going to be 0-12.
Yeah, it's going to be 0. Well, it'd be more than that because you play. No, it would be 0-12 because you play 6 division opponents a year. What I was saying though is like, yes, this is the first time it's been this bad, but you have to remember there's a guy here who hasn't been here and a guy in a role that they haven't had for literally the last 50 years, and that's Kevin Warren. Your previous president and CEO was doing, accounting and stuff, and Ted Phillips wasn't involved at all, or was involved, but for the wrong reasons. Kevin Warren is here for those reasons. He's not just here to build a stadium, Mike. He's here to make change. And if you're here to make change, Kevin Warren, you better make that damn change now because you could get fooled in these next 6 games. If Justin Fields continues to play well and they start to win games, there is going to be a scapegoat and they are going to find a way to keep that staff around. And Justin is going to make them look good if that happens. So you have to fire them now to find out and discover that they were the problem all along and that you can be a good team next year if you bring in the right pieces. I don't care if you're short-staffed. You have to do it. That's the only way you're going to discover things about this franchise for the next 6 games.
So here's my pushback on that, right? Because here's my real problem. 23-year-old Kevin Lapka is sitting up here right now and telling the world what everybody already knows. We're sitting here today with no NFL experience, with no legitimacy experience in owning a franchise or being a part of a front office in the NFL or in anything. And we understand this. Everybody in the media understands this. And here's my problem, Kevin. How do you not understand this? So I believe Kevin understands this. I believe that Ryan Poles understands this. But here's the real question. And I talk about this every time on Welcome to Mars with my guy, Rob Scott. We talk about Jerry Reinsdorf, not only as the owner of the Chicago White Sox, but as the Chicago Bulls. You are going to make the decisions of who you hire. You're always going to hire the people who fit the George Halas way, which is outdated, respectfully. All power to George Halas. May he rest in peace, but it's over. It's over. No running back is lasting 15 plus years in an organization. You're not going to win a championship based off of defense. These things aren't happening where a quarterback can throw 2,500 yards and win MVP. It's just not happening. And when you make these decisions, it just comes down to it at the end of the day to where I believe the McCaskies will always have the final say of who's hired, especially at the head coaching position, especially at who they hire. I believe from top to bottom, they are just obsessed with sticking their noses in it. And it's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate. And I don't see that changing. Do you think Ryan Poles legitimately has an option this offseason on who he's going to hire as head coach? Because here's my question. I know you make that face, but my problem with that is we've seen time and time again them go DC. I don't believe that all the GMs the Bears have had are hiring defensive coordinators as head coaches because they truly believe that those guys are the best fit. I don't. I believe there are a couple guys who sneak in there, the Mark Trestmans of the world, the Matt Nagy's of the world. They sneak in there. They talk their talk. The Trestman one I can't even speak on. I don't know how that even happened. But, Bruce Arians is on the phone, and he wants to be the Chicago Bears head coach. But you went to Canada and said Mark Trestman was the guy. But, Kev, do you see them legitimately giving Ryan Poles the reins this offseason and allowing him and Kevin to just freely do whatever they want to do without sticking their noses in there? Because history's told me they're not.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you, and I would think that's the case if Kevin Warren wasn't here. Like, if it was just Ryan Poles and if Ted Phillips was still around, I'd be, oh my god, yeah, they're gonna have that committee with Phillips and McCaskey and Poles,
Yep.
and they're gonna bring in some third party guy like they did with Bill Polian in 2022, right? And bring somebody in just to do the vetting process. Like, no, like that. Kevin Warren being here changes everything. It changes everything, and that's he is literally. And I could be wrong, Mike, about his role with the team. I could be wrong. We don't know. Maybe he is just the stadium guy. I don't know. You don't know. No
I don't.
one knows what his true role with this team is. But we do know that in the teams that he has been a part of, and this is a quote that I remember after the first time we did our episode when Kevin Warren was hired, was Dick Vermeil, head coach of the Los Angeles Rams when they won the Super Bowl in 1999, talked about Kevin Warren like 10 years later when they did like a documentary, or they did something about the 1999 Rams team, the greatest show on turf. Because Kevin Warren had I forget what his role was. He wasn't the president or CEO, but he had a pretty significant role with the team. And Dick Vermeil, the head coach, said Kevin Warren's role with the team was his contributions to the team were as important as anyone in the organization. Like, for a Super Bowl winning team. And I know you could talk about this guy just being the Big Ten commissioner and all this, and he's just good with TV deals. And in Minnesota, he was there for the stadium. No, this guy can be an essential piece to an organization. He has been in the past for Super Bowl winning organizations. Him being here, I have to believe, means he will make football decisions and make significant decisions at the top, which means he will be given the reins to tandem up with Ryan Poles and hire the next head coach and actually choose a guy who is going to be the right coach for hopefully Justin Fields or whoever the rookie quarterback may be, and make the right choice and steer this franchise in a different direction. And look, like, they did that with Matt Nagy. Like, let's be honest. Like, if you want to give credit to Ryan Pace for one thing, it's the fact that he did have somewhat of a forward-thinking mindset when it came to some of the decisions he made. Did he trade multiple picks for Khalil Mack and kind of mortgage the future on defense? Yes, but he did try to build an explosive offense. He got Allen Robinson here. He tried to draft a quarterback in Justin Fields who was different, who was an African-American quarterback for a franchise who traditionally wouldn't draft African-American quarterbacks, it didn't seem like, right?
Right.
Hired the offensive coordinator, like all these different things. So I think they're going to give Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren the keys to the car. I'll be right back in 1 minute.
Most definitely. And while we're waiting for Kevin, man, we got a couple of things to talk about. First of all, I want to get through the comments. Cynthia, we appreciate you for tuning into the show. Ray Bond, always check him out on Fridays at the All Sports All Plays Network. My guy, Rob Sky, yo, baby. How we feeling? He said the Bears coaching staff is a clown show. I mean, Rob, we've talked about it time and time again. The Bears need to fire the coaching staff. There's no secret. It's not a hot take. I mean, this is just what it is at the end of the day. We have a game against Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions, who are currently 7-2 at the time, and you have 3 interceptions. 3 interceptions, almost a pick 6 by Jalen Johnson, by the way, which was absolutely phenomenal to even see him get after that ball. I literally jumped out of my seat. I was so excited. But you have Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, and if I'm not mistaken, Tyreek Stevenson with his first NFL interception. You have all of these big pieces to this team. And I understand Jalen Johnson and Eddie Jackson both got beat to end the game. And that's unfortunate. But at the end of the day, man, this is what it is. You have to call it for what it is and what it's not. We are not a good football team. We are trash. Like, those are 2 facts. Those aren't hot takes. We are a 3-7 football team. That's just what it is, man. I mean, there's no way around it. I don't know what to say. I don't know what else we can sit up here and have these conversations week in and week out about, what we need to do. We for 2 seconds there, maybe Tyson Bagent can help us win more games. And he did. But at the end of the day, I would have rather have lost those games if we're just going to lose every single game after that with Tyson Bagent or Justin Fields, whoever it may be, Trace McSorley. I don't care. It's just one of those conversations. And Kev,
you just say Trace McSorley.
You missed it. All I'm saying is, you get 2 wins with Tyson Bagent, and that's cool. But if immediately after that, you're just going to lose the rest of the games this year because you're inadequate coaching staff. I mean, Kev, it doesn't matter if it's McSorley. It doesn't matter if it's Fields. It doesn't matter if it's Bagent or Peterman for the millionth time before they cut him and then re-sign him again. It just doesn't matter. But, Kev, I got something for you. I saw you on Twitter today. Talking that ish. I mean, come on.
Talking that ish?
Talking that ish. I mean, telling people to touch grass. I saw a couple comments today on social media saying that Justin Fields had no right to be dancing towards the end of the game. Now, a former NFL player wants to go out publicly and trash Justin Fields, who's already down. Kicking a man while he's down is crazy to me. Edo Bradovich is out here making claims saying on WGN radio that he had an issue with Justin Fields dancing in the fourth quarter today after running for a first down. Kevin, can you dissect your thought process on the hate Justin Fields gets for just having fun? Because I've seen this so many times where Josh Allen goes crazy, Patrick Mahomes goes crazy, Jalen Hurts goes crazy, and we love it. Justin Fields does anything, and people have a problem with it. And I used to think that was, an African-American quarterback thing, but it's kind of turning into more than that. You know what I mean? Like I see people loving Patrick Mahomes. I see people love Lamar Jackson, love Jalen Hurts. Justin Fields does something, and social media, PR teams all have a problem with it. What is it? What is it about Fields having fun that people just don't love in Chicago?
Mike, people will love anything you do if you win, right? And they'll hate everything you do if you lose. That's really what it boils down to, right? Like the whole reason Edo Bradovich, his boomer ass, 83-year-old boomer, old man yells at cloud ass, Edo Bradovich. The whole reason, go touch grass guy. The whole reason that he is upset about that, no disrespect to Edo Bradovich, but I mean,
you can't say that. You can't say no disrespect after that tangent. What? It's like, respectfully, I fucking hate you.
I never said that. Do not put that on me.
No. It's just an example. It's just an example.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, respectfully, you're dog shit.
But like the whole reason those guys say that, and why you're talking about, people getting frustrated about Fields having fun is, you had fun. And then what happened? You lost the game, right? You celebrated too soon. If the Bears win that game, Edo Bradovich doesn't say that on WGN in this morning. You don't get any reaction from that. Like, people hate. And look, I am obviously of the camp that dude can dance whatever he wants. If he's up 42 or down 42, it doesn't matter, right? Like, let the kid have fun. Let these guys have fun, man. I mean, this is like, it's not that serious, Edo Bradovich, all right? But when you win, and when you talk about guys like, you don't see problems with Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen when they do it, or Jalen Hurts, well, you want to know why? Because they win consistently. Okay. And there's no, and this goes for everything, dude. Things get better when you win. That's just the way it works. Mm-hmm. Dude, the Steelers are one of the, they're the most mid team in the NFL, but they're winning, and it absolves all the guys on their team from irrational hate. That's just the way it goes, man. 100%. Winning cures everything. We know that as former athletes, and we know what it's like when you lose, right? I didn't do a lot of losing in high school because my teams were just so raw. I mean, I'm just saying,
man,
you didn't? Real about it.
You didn't? I did. You
did.
You Northtown Academy.
You know what it's like to be on the Chicago Bears right now.
But what coach brought them back from the dead, Kevin?
Yeah, okay.
Mike Hughes brought them back from the dead. And then they immediately went 0-10 this season after moving on from Mike Hughes. But shout out to Northtown Academy. But Kev, man, I want to throw a transition in here. I want to get something. Also, I know you didn't see this while you were gone, because we're not going to be talking about the coaching staff. We're not going to be talking about what needs to happen or them needing to be fired, because, we can talk about that all day long. But I want to talk about the conversations of Caleb Williams and Drake May and Justin Fields. And I just, for the sake of the people watching this, I will throw in Shedeur Sanders, but that is not a conversation. But in all seriousness, man, we talk about the next 6 games being so important for Justin Fields in his NFL career, not just as a Chicago Bear, but as a starter, showing people that, hey, man, listen, we can ball out even despite the dysfunctionality of this team and this organization. Do you realistically think that a decision is going to be made based off of the next 6 games? Or do you think Ryan Poles already has enough film on Caleb and Drake to say whether or not he's going to draft them number 1 overall? Because that's a serious thing. I'm not going to just base 6 games from Justin Fields on a guy who you think could be a Hall of Fame talent or a bust in the NFL when they are drafted on draft day. How do you feel about it?
I don't think, the 6 games will play a role, but I don't think that's the only thing that is being considered, right? And I think it's more about the recognition of the first overall pick. It is not the slam dunk you think it is, right? Especially at the quarterback position. We did this last year. It fails 50, 60% of the time, right? So you have to ask yourself this. Caleb Williams, 5 weeks ago, people thought was a generational prospect. He ain't that anymore. He's flawed, and he might not be the first quarterback taken this year. It might be Drake May. Maybe J.J. McCarthy does weird things, and he gets up there like a Zach Wilson-esque, rise. Who knows? But it is not the lock for Caleb Williams to be amazing and great in the NFL as it used to be. So you have to ask yourself this, Mike. What is riskier? Is it riskier to keep Justin Fields around and bank on his abilities, which are proven in the NFL? He has thrown for 4 touchdowns in back-to-back games. He's thrown for 300 yards. He's broken NFL record. Like, his abilities are proven in the NFL to a certain extent. Yes, he has flaws, but his ceiling is there, and we all know it. Or do you bank on something potentially way worse and like a complete bust in Drake May or Caleb Williams, a total dysfunction? Or on the flip side of that coin, potential, who knows, Pro Bowl, All-Pro Hall of Fame talent with those two guys. You just don't know, right? Like, but there's so much risk associated to those two that if you're Ryan Poles, I don't know how you approach that and take that risk with honestly a higher chance that it doesn't work out for you and you end up looking like a clown. Because if you do, even if Drake May or Caleb Williams don't turn out to be busts, we all know that Justin Fields is going to thrive in the next organization he goes to. Like, thrive there. So it's going to be a bad look for Ryan Poles regardless if he moves on from Fields. But if you move on from him and Drake May and Caleb Williams are bad, whichever one you take, it's going to look worse. It's not going to look worse, obviously, than Trubisky Mahomes, but it's going to be close. It's going to be up there. Like, it's going to be a colossal mistake. And I just think from a risk standpoint, Mike, you just have to keep him around, unless he is just the worst player in history the next 6 games.
It reminds you so much of Doug Flutie and what happened when Doug Flutie left the Chicago Bears organization. And you look at the success that he was able to have, and then you look at him as a Chicago Bear, and you're like, well, why wasn't this that? You know what I mean? And why couldn't this happen here? And, you have those conversations all the time. And you and I, I'm a man that can admit when he's wrong. I thought we would see that with Mitchell Trubisky, with the Steelers organization. But I still get to watch Mitch every single week. His name is just Pickett now. But it's okay. And it's definitely
wait, real quick. Do you think the Steelers are better with Mitch Trubisky? I am not joking. I'm literally not joking.
I see no difference.
Which is crazy.
I see the 2023 Pittsburgh Steelers and the 2018 Chicago Bears, and they are holding hands walking into a first-round exit together. That's just really how it is. And you know how I feel about Mike Tomlin. I believe he's the greatest coach in the NFL. Currently, not all time, but currently. I love Tomlin, but I do believe that Tomlin got this one wrong. I don't think Kenny Pickett was the guy, but he's definitely serviceable. But in all seriousness, I think here's where I'm at, right? I look at it from a front office standpoint, and I can get behind you drafting a quarterback for one simple reason, because of the way Ryan Poles has set up the salary cap. Jalen Johnson, who it's going to be hard, making a conversation about paying him after Tyreek Stevenson with his first NFL interception last night. And obviously seeing the rise of Spider Gordon. But you want that guy in the locker room. You want Jalen Johnson there, the guy who's been there through the bad times, and he's going to be here for the good. Almost had a pick 6 yesterday, which would have been phenomenal. Especially, I'm already knowing he would have looked straight into that camera and did it again. He would have did it again. Pay me. And that's really what it is. But here's my problem, Kev. You pay Montez Sweat. You're paying Tremaine Edmonds. You're going to have to pay a new offensive line because this one is basura. This one is trash. This one is awful. There's no way around it. And when I look at all of that and I say, okay, DJ Moore is getting paid. Mooney might get paid. Maybe you go after T. Higgins. You're definitely going after a wide receiver if you're drafting a quarterback number 1 overall. If you have to pay Justin Fields versus a quarterback on a rookie deal for the next 4 to 5 years, I'm going to ask you, see how you feel about it. Is it easier for Ryan Poles to build a championship caliber team with a quarterback on a rookie contract versus Justin Fields in whatever market he might be in? Because I really don't think the Justin Fields market would be that insane.
So this is a complicated conversation. It's a really good conversation to have because I don't think enough people are talking about it because the conversation has been so centered around like rookie or Fields, right? But say it is Fields, right? That's what say it is Fields. And this is related to what you're talking about. If it is Fields, you have to make the argument, the comparison game is going to be played. Because last year, Daniel Jones received $215 million. Now ask yourself, is Daniel Jones better than Justin Fields? Absolutely not. So if you're Justin Fields and his agent, at the end of the year, you're negotiating a contract extension, right? Or you want the contract extension. Now, they don't have to give it to him, but you want it. He's going to go into that meeting room and say, Justin Fields stats versus Daniel Jones stats, Daniel Jones money. This is Justin Fields money. So it'll be interesting to see if that card gets played, if he expects an extension of, that type of money, which is like, why New York? Why Giants did you have to fuck this up for everyone? And like, they ruined the market with that contract.
100%.
They ruined
100%.
the market. But with all that being said, I honestly think it makes less sense for him to build the team if he drafts a rookie. And I understand the financial aspect, but if you take a quarterback number 1 overall, it's cheaper, but you still owe that player like $12-13 million a year. Like I don't really know exactly what the contract is for first overall.
I would say it's about $6 to $7 million cheaper to take a rookie quarterback number 1 overall than extend Justin Fields to imagining $250 million thanks to Daniel Jones. But and Kev, we're talking about a guy who's broken single game and NFL records. I mean, this is a guy I will go out there freely, top 3 rushing quarterback of all time already. And that's just truly how I feel about it. If I'm looking at guys like Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson, and Justin Fields is the next guy I'm naming. I don't care what order you have the first 2. Justin Fields is 3rd for me. And that's no hot take. That's just what it is. I mean, you can make other conversations as well. But that's just really where I'm at with it. And I think, at the end of the day, you can make the argument that, hey, we're going to extend Justin Fields. But Kev, I believe you lose out on Jalen Johnson because of that. I believe you lose out on a Darnell Mooney or somebody of that caliber in free agency because of extending a guy like Justin Fields. And for QB1, that's perfectly fine. But if I'm Ryan Poles, listen, I never drafted the kid. I never hired this coaching staff. I'm going to get this offseason a chance to correct both. And I guess I could look at that and say, all right, well, I've seen what happened to the Green Bay Packers after Aaron Rodgers started making major money. We saw what happened with the Kansas City Chiefs losing Tyreek Hill. Didn't really miss a beat, but you start to notice now.
They won the Super Bowl, Mike. Didn't miss a beat. They won the Super Bowl.
Didn't miss a beat. They were winning them before. They won them after. But the point remains the same. You see how that roster is very scarce. Can you name 3 wide receivers on the Kansas City Chiefs right now that you would say are top 15 wide receivers? You can't. And sure, Travis Kelce, whatever. But at the end of the day, if you're okay, I love
all
Kelce.
Time,
whatever in terms of that is not a legitimate wide receiver. You know what I mean? Like you can't sit up here and feed me that, oh, it's okay because we have Kelce. Like the Baltimore Ravens do that every single year. And look at what happens to Mark Andrews. Okay, now what are we going to do? Bank that Odell's knee holds up? Pray to God. Pray for Lamar. But, I definitely think it's a real conversation of I never drafted Justin Fields. I want a better coaching staff. I knew this was going to be a bridge gap when we did it. I think we all kind of understood that. It felt very David Ross-esque. I felt like when we hired Matt Eberflus, it was just kind of like, let's build a culture and see what happens. But, to Ross's credit, I felt like Ross built an amazing culture in Chicago. Whereas Matt Eberflus is just kind of like, it's like I'm taking my grandma to the doctor and I'm just kind of pulling up, holding her hand. Hey, let's go get our appointment. Same thing on a Sunday. We're walking in with Matt Eberflus, just hoping he doesn't get lost on his way out. And Kev, this is one of our last topics of the night, but what is your legitimate Christmas wish list right now? We're getting a little festive because we got Thanksgiving coming up this week. I'm gonna be wearing a Santa hat all of December. I'm excited about it. We're doing our Christmas wish list for both the Chicago Cubs with Shohei Ohtani, obviously. We're gonna be doing it for the Chicago Bulls. It's just gonna be a little different with what I want, but it's gonna come down to a lot of things. But for the Chicago Bears, Kevin Lapka, as of today, what do you want to see happen this offseason specifically that if it doesn't happen, you're like, these guys don't know what they're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's obvious, obviously. Obviously. Who the hell says that, right? All right, let's start here. Keep Justin Fields. That's on my wish list. I just think it's the smartest thing to do. And what you were saying, too, about, all right, you spend money on Fields. That means you can't spend money on Mooney. But if you were to take a quarterback with the first overall pick, then you don't get Marvin Harrison Jr., so you have to end up spending on wide receiver anyway. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
it
that
ends up
argument was
balancing.
more of, okay, there's guys like Johnson, there's guys like Mooney, there's other individuals that are going to be free agents as well. So you're going to lose out on a couple of those guys because of signing Fields, because obviously Yannick Ngakoue is probably gone as well at the end of this season. So you have to address that. Lucas Patrick, Cody Whitehair, and a couple other guys I don't even want to name because they can make me have an aneurysm. It's, you know, you're going to lose out on some guys, and you got to replace those guys on top of a Fields contract that you're talking about, Daniel Jones-esque level, maybe even not maybe, definitely even higher than that. You know, I definitely think you lose out on a guy like that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, they have so much cap space, and on a per year basis, I still like. So I was wrong about Daniel Jones' contract. It was $160 million.
Still 160 too much.
It's still, yeah, I agree. And but he's coming off a playoff win. So if you are negotiating with Justin, like, I don't know, you know, it's just weird. Anyway, I think you have enough money. So I got Justin Fields being retained is at the top of my wish list. Then obviously firing Eberflus is at the top. Then retain Justin Fields. Drafting Marvin Harrison Jr. number 1 overall. And I really think like the last franchise tagging Jalen Johnson also on their wish list, because I don't think they're going to give him the contract extension at this point, especially after he dropped the pick 6. I think they're going to say, all right, we're going to franchise tag you, prove it for us in 2024, see what you can do, and then we'll give you a lucrative contract. And the last thing on that list is signing a free agent center. Like, I think if you sign a big ticket free agent center, you have a very, very good offensive line that can protect Justin Fields in 2024. So, and I think if you don't do that, then you are having a flawed evaluation of the team. So those are really the 5 things on my wish list. And like, honestly, make me the GM, because I think if you do those 5 things, and we'll throw it one last thing, hire Ben Johnson, because you got a good look at him, and he got a good look at Justin Fields on Sunday as well. And he's probably like, damn, I want to coach that guy.
Yeah.
If you do those 6 things, Mike, it's going to sound really biased and homerish. Like, if you do those 6 things, you have a really good core of this team, you can win 10, 11 games next year. Like, it is possible. It's not out of the realm of possibility if you do it. The Bears won 12 games their first year with Nagy, and they have a good roster. They have a lot of young guys on contracts. You bring in the right guy to fire this team up, even if Justin Fields isn't spectacular. Was Mitch Trubisky spectacular in 2018? No, and they won 12. Was Daniel Jones spectacular last year when the Giants won 12 games and made it into the playoffs? No. You can do it. Is possible. There's so much precedent for it. If you do those 5 things, the Bears will and can and will be a 10 or 11 win team next year. So that's my wish list. Mike, make it come true. Please be Santa Claus and make it come true. I need it.
I'm trying. You know, and my list was very similar. I only did 5. What I was really in on was Ben Johnson. I don't want Jim Harbaugh, especially after some news. I know the NCAA doesn't care, but I care. It's kind of weirdo activities going on in Michigan right now, and I'm not a big fan of Michigan as a whole either. So it's perfectly fine. It works. But with that being said, Ben Johnson, I want to pull a Craig Counsell. I want to swoop in like SEAL Team 6 and get that man in the middle of the night and have him in a Chicago Bears uniform, because it just needs to happen. I mean, you are making Jared Goff look amazing. And it was concerning that it looked a little bad against Matt Eberflus, but
it wasn't his fault, though.
Ben
Johnson's not throwing picks.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? But the limitations of, you know, what Ben Johnson is able to do when a guy who is incapable of being a legitimate top 5 quarterback is at quarterback. It's just a problem. You know, the same thing with Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's an amazing coach. I don't care. Kenny Pickett is Kenny Pickett at the end of the day. You know, Matt Nagy was doing great things, Santa's sleigh, the refrigerator moves, and all these other different plays in 2018. Mitch was Mitch at the end of the day, and we knew that. But for me, Ben Johnson and Justin Fields, what that could potentially be in the lure is Justin Fields. I think if you have Caleb Williams, I would rather stay in Detroit if I'm Ben Johnson, because, okay, yeah. I have something that works. I don't have to teach this kid. He knows what he's doing. You know what I mean? And with Caleb Williams, come on, man. Come on. Too many Chick-fil-A commercials, not enough playing. But, you know, with that being said, that's my number 1. My number 2, I actually agree with you, man. Marvin Harrison Jr. is number 2 on my list, because here's the reality. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say something completely ignorant and asinine, and you might look at me and say, you don't know ball, and that's fine. But I look at a team like the Cincinnati Bengals, who went to the Super Bowl after drafting Jamar Chase instead of Penei Sewell, and people laughed at them. Congratulations to the Detroit Lions on winning 8 games for the first time since drafting Penei Sewell. And you look at a franchise and an organization like the Cincinnati Bengals, yeah, they still need to protect Joe Burrow, and that's still been an issue. But the wins are there, Kevin. Multiple AFC championships, multiple appearances in the AFC championship. I mean, you're looking at an organization that you can sit here and say Jamar Chase was the right move. And it's a lot of people are upset about that. But Justin Jefferson, guys like that, I mean, what we see at the wide receiver position in today's game, I mean, come on. And what's better than the son of the man who beat us in the Super Bowl? Marvin Harrison has to right that wrong. Give us your son. We need you. We need you. He was on the Colts, Kevin. Marvin Harrison was on the Colts. I don't know if you forgot about that. I don't forget about that.
I know he was on the Colts. I just didn't think he was on the Colts in 2006.
He was. It's
I
a
guess
crazy
he was,
story.
yeah.
But with that being said, that's number 2. Number 3 is going to shock you. Are you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think number 3 is, Kevin?
Make Tyson Bagent QB1.
I wish. Slim Shady deserves another chance. No. Number 3, sign T. Higgins. Let Darnell Mooney walk. Give me DJ Moore, Marvin Harrison Jr., and T. Higgins.
Oh, stop it.
And I'm cool. I am cool.
They can't do all 3?
I want all 3, though.
They can't do all 3.
They can and they will.
No,
Kevin.
they won't.
Yes, they will. If you want Jalen Johnson to walk, if you let Jalen Johnson walk, I am content with Tyreek Stevenson and Kyler Gordon.
No.
And then just give me T. You know I'm a big T guy.
I know. I am too.
I need both. He
wants wide receiver 1 money. You're going to pay him wide receiver 1 money?
He can have it.
And draft Marvin Harrison Jr. and give him a contract for the first overall pick?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
You know why? Because I am that thirsty for Chicago Bears wins. I'm hungry. I need it. I want it. And you know why I make this move? I have reasoning. Because number 4 on my list originally at the beginning of this season, I've had this list out for a while.
You're getting cold for Christmas, bro.
I need cold for Christmas. I need to be humbled. But originally, I thought we had an issue with the run stopping of this team. And they have become a top 3 run stop defense with Andrew Billings, who at the beginning of the season, I was not even looking at Andrew Billings. And then you obviously, Javon Dexter Sr. looked amazing last night. And we saw a little bit of Zach Pickens throughout the season. But it's all right. He's coming along. But to look at this team and say, on top of Montez Sweat, the trenches look nice. The linebackers look nice. Now, Eddie Jackson needs to get out the shy, but I'm looking at this, Kev, and I'm saying the run game is not a part of this anymore. I'm okay with this. I'm completely content. So number 4 on my list is just the offensive line, whether that's whoever you're going to get with not the number 2 pick, but the second first-round pick that you acquire. It definitely needs to be an offensive lineman. And number 5, because I put this the lowest on the list because I feel like it is the least important, and only I want to make sure I say this the right way because I don't want you to just jump out your chair. I feel like it shouldn't even be a conversation. So I put it at 5. Justin Fields needs to be QB1 going into 2024. And I put that at 5 because there's so many major needs. And I look at Justin and I'm like, yeah, that shouldn't even be a thing we're talking about. You know what I mean? And that's just really what it was. Now, if I felt like we needed to draft Caleb Williams, that'd be on number 1. But Justin Fields being the QB1 of 2024, yeah, I mean, you can't tell me that I'm wrong. But with that being said, man, Kev, man, we appreciate you coming on the show today. You can check out Kevin Lapka on 670 The Score or Bears Nation Podcast. He's always doing amazing things. Or on Tuesdays, you can check us out on Primetime, baby. We got a doubleheader tomorrow night, 5-0, maybe finishing the regular season up 7-0. They're trying to cheat, Kev. They're trying to cheat. They don't want us to be great. They don't want us to be successful. 100%. 100%. But with that being said, you can check us out all the time. You can check us out on TikTok, Kevin at Bears Nation Podcast, or me at the Shy.Kid. Until next time, I'll check you guys out later. Peace.
I love you.